Good morning, peeps. Yeah, man. Welcome back to Ras Binghi TV. Um, really appreciate you tuning in and following this story, my story. Find myself in a little bit of a dilemma with this landlord. Get a little bit of back history. I've been living here for close to 20 years. Finished raising my son in this place. We shared this place as he broke out into the world. And in 2012, when he split, I took it over. I was here since '07, two of us. I'm a retired United States Air Force veteran, Vietnam era. I never served in country. Fortunately, I'm not a combat veteran, but I served as support, and my older brother John. I always said that he did my tour for me. He did 2 tours back to back, U.S. Army, during the Tet Offensive. And he's not here today to share with me. But anyway, I make a long story shorter. Um, I'm a veteran. I'm retired. I'm in my mid-70s. Um, I've been in this apartment for quite a few years. The original landlord sold the building to this current landlord, for which I have problems with today. Um, uh, my landlords were private owners of this place in the past. Actually, both of them worked for one of the banking concerns in my community. One of them was the CFO, Chief Financial Officer for this particular bank. And the other one was a retired uh, banker. And they were both like the coolest guys you could have ever met. They stayed on top of the property. Needless to say, it's an older property, but they maintained it and they worked to keep it. And I guess after or just before COVID, they ended up selling the property. And they assured me, knowing that I've been here for such a long time, that they made a good transaction with a community landlord that is a good landlord, somebody that'll look out for me. They both hung their head that day when they were telling me, about this guy. They didn't know I already knew who he was. I've been in the community for a long time. I know lots of people here, and a lot of people that have been under this guy's thumb. So anyway, I knew. And it didn't take but 1 year of him owning the building, maybe 2 years of him owning the building. Everything just went straight downhill. Getting things done was like pulling teeth. Everything was at his discretion, whether he thought it was important. His repairman couldn't assess or make the judgments necessary to move forward and make repairs without going through him. What do you call that? Micromanagement. Um, Always search for the cheapest materials. Um, his repairman, obviously, I don't know, I can't say obviously, but his repair people were obligated to him. Most of them live in his properties, and I'm sure there's some kind of a quid pro quo, you say, where they do work exchange for their, uh, you know, their apartment. So it's just very fly by night. It's not giving to the consumers. It's bad enough we live in a community that's just like, you know, they call this little city I live in Barry, Vermont. That's what the people that live here call it. Originally, I'm from New York City. I've been here almost 50 years now. But they call this little city here in Vermont the armpit of Vermont. It's usually where the prisons dump out. It's depressed. It's a stone cutter's community. There's a lot of quarry stone being cut up here. It's got a long history of immigrant, you know, but this is where I live, and what has happened through the course of time is, because of the older buildings, this one particular management company owns a lot of this property here, and they mismanage it. They don't really manage it. They mismanage it. I guess you could say they mismanage the property. And a lot of people have suffered under them. People have already depressed, and some in harm's way, some in controlled situations that they had no real leverage for movement. You know, I kind of fell into that position. I live on fixed income. You know, I live on my Social Security benefits and my veterans benefits, which basically, you know, with no other income coming in, I'm a retired local musician. You know, I've worked here for enough bread and butter throughout the years, but then again, look at my age now. I'm not carrying drums, and I'm not even getting the gigs, man. It's a young man's game. But anyway, I'm up under the thumb and being disparaged by this landlord. He hasn't put the time or the effort, nor the respect for me as a consumer, as a resident in one of his buildings, as a tenant. He hasn't showed me the respect. He wouldn't care if he pitched me out into the fucking street after being here for all these years. And it's obvious because I had to stop paying my rent to him. I understand this. It's not that I had, you know, rent was tough, but it wasn't undoable. And I started to look for assistance through non-governmental organizations, you know, affiliated with churches and universities and veterans groups, to see if there was something out there. And I actually tied into some assistance. But upon inspection of the apartment, which was very not really surprising to me, but I didn't think it was that far going. I knew it was going, but the apartment wouldn't pass inspection for these organizations to give me the assistance. And it was just minor assistance I needed, you know, to keep me in a livable situation. So this landlord actually has had me living in not just a place that wasn't up to code, but a place that wouldn't pass inspection. So I called the city, and I had their fire marshal inspector come out. We played phone tag for a little while. I don't know exactly why, you know, but he ended up going to the landlord and I guess apprising him that I requested an inspection. So the landlord came along with him when he came to do the inspection. And it kind of had the vibe of he was inspecting the place for the landlord. I was third party. I was out of the loop. I wasn't even considered, you know, as I told the inspector what I thought about the apartment. And he basically like shrugged it off. His concern was making this workable for the landlord. So I still haven't received a printout or a report of what the findings were from that inspection, which is one of the reasons why I will be doing a subpoena to the city fire marshals for that report, and in discovery find out what it was, you know, that the true code violations. But as it stands, I've been living in an apartment that was uninhabitable or uninspectable, wouldn't pass inspection. I guess that would render it uninhabitable by code. I still need to find out those particulars. But I'd recommend to anybody that wants to follow, and I'll soon be posting here, you know, the transcripts from the past interaction with the Vermont Superior Court. The people, I think, at their own point can make their own assessment that I'm being jerked around on a chain. by these people. I understand why. If you look at part 6 of my series, you'll see that I understand the broken window theory and who landlords like this are and what roles they play in the community and why they're there. It's just unfair to the community and the consumers that are trying to just keep their heads above water. So anyway, with the failure of this apartment, he sent everything into a tailspin. He could have alleviated this whole process by just stepping up to the plate. And, you know, at my request and his knowledge, because he had been here prior to the inspector, he's been here, his workmen have been here, everybody's totally apprised of what's necessary in this apartment to bring it up to code. As well as, if you look at the photograph of that I use as the apartment, you know, logo, that's an advertisement from apartments.com. And it's advertising this apartment I'm living in, for which I'm, get it, living in. And it's advertising this apartment is available as of last June. I checked in, I think it was the spring. Somebody had called me and said, hey, Ken, have you been online? Take a look and see. Your apartment is online for rent. I'm like, you're kidding me, man. I haven't moved out. I haven't been evicted. But whatever the process is, excuse my French, but there was a saying back in the day that I smell a nigger in the woodpile. Today they call that a black gentleman in the lumber business. You understand? People have been fucking up. And they could have been just as cool as cucumbers if they didn't choose to be racist, elitist, I guess you could say, and play these games. They obviously didn't know that I had a background in and at least half a fucking brain. But, yeah. Stay tuned. Keep tuned. I'm going to tell you the story about the 3 meters, give you a little insight. Have 3 meters, electric meters connected to the building. That we do. 3 meters, 3 apartments. But there's 4 routes of service. Each apartment has their individual meter, of course. But there's also power going to the building, which runs the basement, the furnace room, everything outside of people's private apartments. Somebody's paying in this building, somebody's paying for that. Now, on whose meter it is, I don't know. But I think we should follow the power and check it out and find out just who is overpaying their electric bill here. I'm afraid it's probably all of us. But yeah, it's worth looking into. 3 meters, 4 lanes of service. 1 exterior plug out outside the building in the parking lot. And then you have the lights, you know, that are connected to the basement and power necessary to keep utilities in the basement up and running. And all of these things are included in everybody's rent. But somebody's overpaying. I can cut my power off in my apartment and I still have 1 live socket. Whose electric is that? Next episode. Peace out, peeps. Thanks for listening. Until then, Ras Binghi for Ras TV. Cheers.